Welcome back, everyone, to Week 5 of the North American LCS. Now, after the spring split, Helios found himself at a crossroads when his team, WinterFox, was knocked out of the LCS. We wanted to take a closer look at what persuaded Helios to don the gold and black for Team Dignitas.
I was very tired because I got so much stress, and I was thinking we have a potential, but that is my mistake. I think we don't have a potential.
TDK take down WinterFox.
윈터폭스를 나가고 되게 좀 그때 당시에 실망을 되게 많이 했었어요. 그때 당시에 팀한테도 실망을 되게 많이 하고 저 자신한테도 실망을 하고 내가 진짜 잘하는 선수였으면 거기서 앉았을 텐데 약간 좀 그런 생각이 많이 들어서 되게 진짜로 군대를 갈까 아니면은 좀 원래는 제가 그만두려고 그랬는데 디그니타스에서 같이 하자고 했을 때는 거절을 했지만 제가 정말 싫어하는 플레이어가 그러니까 저를 좀 속인 선수가 한국에서 게임을 하고 있더라고요. 그래갖고 너무 화가 나서 아 얘가 게임을 하는데 나는 여기서 뭐 하고 있는 거지? 나는 왜 게임을 할 수 없는 거지? 그 선수가 게임을 하는 걸 보고 저는 다시 한번 뛰고 싶고 그 선수한테 제가 월드 챔피언십을 가는 걸 보여주고 싶어서 디그니타스로 오게 되었어요. Before join, Dignitas have maybe a little bit problem, but honestly, all team have a problem. 이제 그러고 제가 팀에 들어올 때 감수가 되게 잘한다고 생각했어요. 근데 많은 사람들이 그 말에 동의를 안 하더라고요. 왜냐면 제가 예전에 CJ에 있기 전 그러니까 플레임 선수가 처음 왔을 때도 많이 도와주었고 리미트 선수가 힘들 때도 도와주었고 아발론이 할 때도 힘들 때도 제가 많이 도와주었고 그렇기 때문에 저는 힘든 선수를 어떻게 케어를 해줘야 되는지 알고 있었기 때문에 이 케어를 잘 하게 되면은 감수가 되게 게임을 잘할 수 있을 거라는 걸 알고 있었고 저는 이미 감수가 이렇게 잘할 수 있을 거라는 걸 알고 있었어요. 그렇기 때문에 감수를 되게 많이 도와주었던 거고 그래서 되게 성적을 잘 낸 것 같아요. 예전에 너무 많이 져서 이제 좀 이기고 싶었어요. 그리고 이겨서 되게 기분이 좋았고 그 연습을 정말 열심히 해서 정말로 꼭 한번 월드 챔피언십에 나가고 싶어요. 그게 제 지금 가장 큰 목표고 지금 다 같이 이렇게 열심히 하면은 이룰 수 있을 것 같아요.
And everyone, we're going to see if he can make that happen because we're here in the summer split, and I am here to cast the games. I'm David Victurli with me for these. You already seen him for the last game, but it's Joshua Jat Leisman, still here.
Yeah, that was a great feature for Helios. It's really cool to see the transformation Dignitas is undergoing with him at the helm of the shot calling, and I just want to see it continue.
Yeah, Dignitas a half a game behind first place, and with the hope going for Worlds, summer split definitely can happen. But we're heading into our next match to see if that will happen. It's Team Dragon Knights versus Team Dignitas, and now for 5 weeks, we've been on a roster. Looking at the roster, it's the Team Dragon Knights roster. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the wait is finally over. Ninja and Emperor are here in the mid lane and AD carry, and they're reporting for duty.
Woo! And for all intents and purposes, TDK's season kind of starts today, and it looks like survival will be the name of the game. Looking at the standings right now, they are 4 games behind 6th place and would likely have to run the table to get a playoff spot. Last split, 9 wins got you in the playoffs. So it's more realistic that their immediate focus is going to be to overtake Team 8 or other teams down in the standings to avoid the 10th place auto-relegation.
Yes, we'll see if that road upwards happens. Then, of course, we got a tough match right out of the gate, though. These guys are facing Team Dignitas, and Dignitas have been doing wonderfully. They started the day in first place. They can tie that again here with a win. Certainly a possibility.
Definitely don't want to let it go, and they want to be able to contain this against a team that now has a few new players. So this is the first look anyone has at these 2 new players, Ninja and Emperor, coming in as far as the NA LCS and how they exist on TDK.
That's true. So we'll see how the synergy is for TDK, a team that has been practicing together a bit, but we'll see how the lineup shapes up right now today on cameras. Starting lineups on the blue side for Team Dragon Knights. Seraph in the top lane, Kez in the jungle, Ninja in mid, Emperor on AD carry, Smoothie on support, and the coach Sean.
Yes, and on the red side, running the win streak is Team Dignitas. Gamsu in the top lane, Helios, who we just saw in the closer look on the jungle, Shifter in mid lane, CoreJJ on AD carry, and of course, Kiwi Kid on support.
backed by ex-Fnatic coach Rico. It has
Yeah.
been a really, you mentioned the upward trend or the winning streak. It's certainly been a pretty rapid growth here for Team Dignitas. At the halfway point, 7-2 first place. They played everyone once. They dropped only 2 games. It's a pretty damn good start. We'll see if that continues then. I mean, another 7-2 run puts them in potentially even a playoff bye.
It's a very worldly game we're about to have here, if you think about it. Rico, ex-coach from Europe, 3 Koreans on Team Dignitas, many Koreans on TDK. However, Emperor played in Brazil, Ninja played in China. We have Kiwi Kid, who's always been in the North American LCS.
We just need a guy from LMS in every major region, and even one of the wildcard regions has been represented in this game. So
Crazy.
Nearly there, nearly there. But picks and bans have begun. Team Dragonites, they've got their bans, they've got their players. This is, again, the first look we're going to see at the intended starting roster. No Rumble for Gamsu, no Rise for Seraph, no Jarvan for Gamsu either. 2 bans so far.
Man, I wanted to see Gamsu play Jarvan.
I did too.
I like what Helios said just now about Gamsu and how he's used to kind of helping players along. I think that also kind of translates to be within the game. When Helios was on Blaze, he would give and give and give so much to Flame so Flame could hard carry and succeed. And he was a big part of Flame's reputation as that carry top laner, was Helios' ability to support him. And if we think of carry top laners the last few weeks in the NA LCS, it's Gamsu.
Yep.
He was the MVP last week, but in order to be successful as a top laner, your jungler does need to enable you.
Well, we'll see if that enabling happens right now. Team Dragonites right away first pick Sivir, and even though we haven't seen him play on the LCS, Ninja already pulls his first ban of the split. Twisted Fate gone away from him. Already the respect given by the Team Dignitas members. Immediate Rek'Sai, immediate looks like Hecarim as well. How about setting up a top lane carry?
Yeah, get that as soon as they can. There's already a couple of top lane bans that have been thrown out with the Rise, the Rumble, and the Jarvan. So Gamsu really just taking what is left, but also one of his most successful champions. He's played Hecarim 2 out of the last 3 games, and he would be a combined 16, 3, and 21. So I'd say that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's something like a 12 KDA, and that champion seems reasonable. Couple next picks for Team Dragonites then, as Team Dignitas so far have just shown pretty normal standard stuff. Dragonites kind of the same, but Emperor's first game will be on this Sivir. Ninja won't get Twisted Fate, but he'll get something else. And I want to know if the style stays to what TDK was doing back in the Challenger series. When Seraph was the hard carry split pusher, they relied on him to get themselves back around. In the sub-squad, it was still that way. It seemed like they couldn't rely on their dual lane very much. Their mid laners having a hard time as well, and it was still the Seraph show. With these 2 new guys, I want to see if TDK changes their gameplay somewhat. Smoothie gets Nautilus, Kez gets Gragas, and we'll wait to see just what Seraph and Ninja are going to do for the team.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable what Seraph has actually done on an 0-9 team. So he's had, as far as more kills than deaths or equal to that, in 5 games of their 9 losses, in like some incredibly one-sided defeats. Yesterday, for example, they got completely crushed by Cloud9, but Seraph was 4-0-0 in that game on a top lane tank. So he will be a pretty worthy adversary for Gamsu. It's just if these new guys can come in, Ninja and Emperor, to have an impact, it's not like TDK doesn't actually have a few strengths to build upon.
Oh, absolutely. So this roster could start out strong. We'll see what happens. The team should be playing in Korean, which will leave Smoothie, the guy you're seeing on the screen right now. He won't be able to communicate with the team very easily. I understand Kez translates for him in the middle of the game, so they played Challenger that way, and it was fine. The team played in Korean back then as well when they had Louis GG and Kyle on the roster. Ninja's first game in the North American LCS will be on Victor here, and the last pick, top lane, will come through in a second. We'll have to be blind, or sorry, the mid lane pick was blind, but they know they're facing into Hecarim in the top lane, and the Vladimir that had pulled so many bans is going to be the pick.
An incredibly high damage team composition coming out from TDK. Gragas and Nautilus going to be trying to provide the vast majority of the CC, but overall just a pretty sturdy team comp. High damage will take a little while to turn on, but no picks that are completely out of the norm. Very standard things there from TDK.
Yeah, on top lane, Vladimir. Do we see him once in a while? He's still one of the least common top laners, and we'll have to see how Seraph can do up against the Hecarim, of course. Meanwhile, Shifter gets the Azir for himself. Such a highly sought-after mid laner. Shifter gets him for a last. Feels safe playing it in Victor. And alongside a Rek'Sai jungle, maybe we see kill pressure in the mid lane.
Maybe, you know, it's the 2 ganking junglers, 2 defense, 2 kind of mostly escapeless mid laners. Azir can obviously bash
Azir a
to
bit
his
better at it.
soldier a little. But the question will actually be, for me, how much attention do the junglers pay to the top laners? And will this be a top lane carry game? Because I've never really seen a Team Dignitas strategy, at least in the past year, focus around getting Shifter fed. Shifter will play a very passive lane, and Helios will be free to go help out the top laner, for instance.
Yeah, absolutely true. So there's the answer to the question. Mid lane, maybe less likely to be focused. TDK coming in there, full lineup is there. You're seeing the Dignitas roster on your screen at this time. And the first TDK game of the full lineup up against Team Dignitas, who are looking at securing first place once again at the end of a week. Certainly a possibility. Could go 2-0. Coaches shaking hands, and we're going to have quite a good game. We have really no good idea of just how good Team Dragon Knights are. We know Dignitas are fairly consistent.
Yeah.
And as we get into this one, the team's loading onto the Rift. You guys should head over to Twitter and let us know who you think is going to win. Tweet either hashtag TDK win or hashtag DIG win. We'll see how the fan vote stands in just a few minutes. Seraph for the rest of his team going to be looking to turn around that 0-9 start to the split here.
Yeah, pretty much the worst possible start to a split in the first 9 games is losing every single one. So TDK,
yeah,
anything is progress.
I believe it is the worst start in history in the North American LCS. I don't believe any team's gone winless in the first half of the split.
I agree.
So TDK, we'll see if they can snap that losing streak. Of course, Fnatic finally broke their own winning streak after beating Gambit on Friday. They finally stretched that to 10. Maybe TDK can break their own bad streak, either positive or negatively. And right now we're looking at just a standard line of scrimmage.
Yeah,
Matchup.
nothing crazy early on. It'll be very interesting to see whether TDK has had much time to practice, because we know that they were practicing with Ninja and Emperor. They just weren't playing with them in the LCS. They had a lot of back and forth issues with their subs. Visa, travel, work authorization issues, the works. But really, how much League of Legends practice happened there? And also, how quickly can you go back to the practice you had been having if you're a team that's been playing in the LCS with subs? Even from other teams like NME, when Trashy was out of the country for the basically preseason, it's been taking them a while to kind of turn back on. These are all challenges that TDK doesn't magically solve just because their players are here.
Absolutely. So the upward road might be a very steep one. Have to see if they've got a strong grip then. Standard assignments as actually Dignitas will go for the lane swap here. They're not taking any jungle camps in the start. Seraph is trying to spot him and going for any shenanigans. Won't find that here. Meanwhile, TDK will be taking down the Krugs by themselves, leaving Kez to solo farm. Seraph expecting a jungle start, actually. He's going to be cutting off the minion line.
Yeah, he was trying to pull his trick where he gets a minion cut to basically preempt level 2 on the guy taking a camp and punish him for doing that. But now, he can't start a camp himself, and he ends up being a little bit denied by kind of guessing wrong.
It's actually really, really bad for him as well. The Thresh is going to continue to zone him off with experience and gold right here, chasing Seraph around the jungle, in fact, on a half health even. Meanwhile, we're going to see just how well CoreJJ can freeze up this lane.
Yeah.
Or similarly, Gamsu's not getting any gold or XP either.
Yeah, but at least he's double jungling here. So at the time, Kez will be a little bit ahead of Helios in experience, but Gamsu and Helios are trading jungle to an excessive extent. A lot of the times you will see the jungler take every single CS in these double jungling situations. Gamsu's actually gotten a few creeps. So Helios even sharing the jungle with his best bud, Gamsu.
This is tricky. So we're seeing Dignitas get ready for the 4-man dive
smite
under the top turret. Yeah, the smite's going to reveal the wolf. Seraph not yet level 2. If he doesn't have Sanguine Pool, I don't know if he can survive the 4-man dive. Kez sees they're up there and decides to not even stick to that side of the jungle, though Smoothie is heading up to try to defend this turret. This is a tight situation, and Dignitas...
Yeah. He just needs a minion to die to hit level 2, and he's there now. So Seraph is level 2. The jungler has been there. And because, here's the other interesting thing, because the jungler was spotted and the support roamed up, Gamsu knows it's safe to soak the minions on the bottom side. So I still think that comes out in favor of Team Dignitas.
And we'll see if that manifests in the scoreboard in a little bit, as we saw the Gamsu teleport try to keep himself afloat. Ninja versus Shifter in the mid lane. Small lead to Ninja, but that's no surprise. Shifter typically down a little bit in his lanes. We'll see as that manifests later on in this one. CoreJJ and KiwiKid about to reach the turret, the 2-on-2. happily just trading farm. Vlad, of course, not the best at last hitting under turret, so that might make him lose some more. Meanwhile, Gamsu at 14 CS up against Emperor is doing pretty well for his 1v1. Top laner, as you mentioned, Dignitas getting ahead.
It went exactly right if you're just looking for Gamsu. Double jungle into teleporting for a big wave without risk. Oh, that's a big fat hook.
Good hook, good play, good Emperor's jump as well, but Ninja will survive with his own shield. Still losing about 500 health for it.
Yeah, it's probably going to force it back, but he does preserve both of his summoners. So I like the roam there by Kiwi Kid. It doesn't burn summoners, but it will give Shifter time to catch up in CS. Because it's not like he lost anything for that. They weren't losing pressure anywhere else on the map. The wave was just resetting on the turret. That's what we call a very good, efficient gank.
Efficiency's there. Kiwi Kid shows up in time to even get the soul that dropped for that first Ninja killed. Seraph getting poked out a decent amount, even with Boots not dodging phosphorus bombs, and so Dignitas still looking fairly happy in this matchup. Gamsu forced to recall backwards for Boots, and Clothhammer will lose a lot of waves from Emperor's push in the bottom lane. This means that Seraph is back to tied with Gamsu. Bot lane turret, I think, losing even more health than the top lane was. Dignitas is pushing.
So Vladimir, because he's ranged right here and having some support to back him up, should at least be able to farm. He's just ate 3 to 4 phosphorus bombs in a row, unable to dodge those things despite having boots. So good aim by CoreJJ, but also poor juking by Seraph early on here. May end up getting himself pushed a bit out of this lane, which could punish them overall. Yeah,
there's a bit of a risk here in the fact that Dignitas actually froze their lane. They could have ganked top if they forced Seraph to continue to engage too far up, but here's a decent attempt. Emperor out of mana, does have summoners though. What can Helios really get? Funnels forward, spell shield pop, nothing.
He can get a spell shield, but at least he provides a presence for Gamsu's lane. That one in particular really just gave mana to Emperor, didn't even provide presence.
And it lets Seraph know he's not getting ganked. Now, TDK had also invested a lot of wards in that lane. You can actually see really good warding done by Smoothie so far, but knowing Rek'Sai is not going to kill Vlad lets him feel a lot more comfortable, even when he was low on health here. And Emperor really not flinching at all. Says, okay, Rek'Sai was bot lane, but I'll push again.
Yeah. Sitting level 6 here, so the lane's equalizing out fairly well. No heavy punishment going down.
Nice phosphorus, but the shield blocks nearly all of it. Okay, about 200-300 permanent damage dealt to Smoothie here, and
Seraph has been able to sustain up.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Oh.
It's hard for Vlad. Nice dodge on that phosphor bomb this time. And overall, we're just seeing this pretty much trade equally. The attempts you're seeing, you know, well-played lane harass and well...
Oh, the hook!
Actually, that one's amazing. The Ignite is on. Seraph could not possibly live through this one. The first blood goes through to the Thresh, and Smoothie with a great hook on a CoreJJ nearly makes him die. Summoner heal force, but still a great first blood for Dignitas.
I wonder if Smoothie would have used his Ignite if that was a kill on CoreJJ, because the heal wouldn't have healed up for that much. But nonetheless, Seraph gets caught by the hook. He was overstaying his bounds with the minion wave being right there. CS advantage growing for Gamsu over Seraph, and that kill will punish it more. It will be very hard in the future, though, for Team Dignitas to continue to pressure Seraph now because he has picked up the spell vamp.
Just to check for you, Jat, he would have died. 75 points off the heal plus 150 from Ignite. Corki lived with 200. So yeah, it would have been the trade kill. Smoothie just unfortunately didn't realize it would have been enough for him. That turret shot maybe not taken into account. Dignitas get away with a nice gold lead thanks to First Blood. Their advantage right now, 800 gold. As Gamsu is also out CSing Seraph pretty decently thanks to that kill. Spell Vamp now in for the Vladimir might make him a bit safer in the matchups, as the dual lanes will also swap themselves both back to the bot lane here. Sheen plus Longsword versus BF Sword.
A lot of mid lane roam right now.
And Ninja puts the early W down, will not get flash knockout by Helios. Gragas was nearby to defend that, but maybe could have been forced regardless. Ninja was out of mana, couldn't have defended himself or fought back. Dignitas though gonna get Scuttle Crab on the bottom side.
Yeah. I want to talk just really briefly about Victor item builds. This is the second time this week I've seen a Fiendish Codec first instead of the Hex Core upgrade. I feel like there's so much power built into the Hex Core upgrade. Getting your Death Ray extended, basically once you get it, even at level 5, it allows you to take out the back row of minions. Definitely at level 7 with 4 points, it one-shots the back row. So it's an ease of CSing as well as just huge power upgrades. But yet we see this Fiendish Codec again and again. I think the mindset of these guys is A, it's cheaper than 1,000 gold, so sometimes you can go back beforehand, and B, they buy it in lanes where they don't necessarily want to push yet. The dangers that Ninja have with Kiwi Kid roaming around so frequently and Helios being a fairly gank-oriented jungler just allows him to go with CDR, more frequent spells to clear CC. He just can't wave clear quickly. And just don't expect Ninja to really be pushing into Shifter whatsoever, and is definitely going to be playing some defense with that Fiendish Codec instead of the Hex Core upgrade right off the bat.
Yeah, well, you talk about ease of wave clear and playing defensively, but Ninja is being actually pushed around by Shifter in rare form. Shifter goes in for the fight right away. Shield comes on though. Ninja with a trade back in. Barrier pop. Ninja pop summoner heal himself. No Merlin Omicron to cut that in half. Chaos Storm still churning, and it's actually nearly an equal trade, but Shifter was winning the lane up until that point anyway.
Yeah. A lot of that was because Kiwi Kid forced him back to base early on and allowed Shifter to get the early reaction. And no heal. Yeah, he doesn't want to burn his flash. Nice job putting the gravity field right on top of him. That's very key when you're getting ganked by a Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai can't follow through very easily.
So Ninja narrowly escaping like the third gank in his lane, I want to say, by 10 minutes. Certainly a lot of attention being pulled. Dignitas spending a lot of time down there. Now it's to the bottom lane. Corey today gets the Lantern just in time. Gets stunned up though. Looks like Valkyrie gonna do nothing. The kill goes through to Emperor. An amazing explosive cast by Kez makes Kiwi Kid flash, but here comes Gamsu. Gonna knock Kez right back into the turret. Gets the kill. A 1-for-1 at the all said and done.
Yeah, so both top laners actually expending their teleport. Seraph canceled his because he realized it wouldn't have been effective, but ultimately they trade a 1-for-1. Really aggressive play by Kez there to follow up with the flash body slam and get the kill at the end of it. Plus TDK can get the turret. But that's also a fight where Gamsu gets a kill early on into the game, which I think is what Team Dignitas wants.
A little hat for the minion there, and Team Dignitas now slightly on the back foot. The farm's still basically the same, or I should say the gold about the same. Gamsu, of course, let Seraph get 1 to 2 waves up there, so the Vladimir catches up a little bit on his way towards Will of the Ancients, but TDK looking pretty decent in the early game. Kind of what we expect. They were fine early game in their previous incarnation as well. To me, what I expect from the growth of this roster should be how they look in the mid to late game with the full roster here.
Yeah, I think that's definitely what will make or break this team. As you said, TDK, they've had numerous early and mid-game advantages, but just no team cohesion to close things down. I don't expect it to magically be there, but changing the languages in which you play it, being a more comfortable environment for many of the players to be here, can all make some pretty big differences. Kez at the forefront of these engages.
Feeling really happy. A lot of burst damage coming across. The Kiwi Kid will still get picked off. Just the further chase by TDK is going to work out. Emperor did not use ult for that. It's going to be back up in about 10 seconds, but he's also gotten the kill in time for Dragon. Looks like Team Dignitas might have to cede this part of the map.
Kiwi Kid could not get the position to place the wards down. There's no teleport threat by Gamsu. The turret is dead in that lane as well, so Core JJ cannot safely farm. I think that would have been a dragon that is very takeable. TDK is just biding their time, however, and not necessarily going for it.
We're seeing Seraph start to get the better of Gamsu as well. It looks like there's no damage to be dealt really for this Hecarim. He also bought the early cloth armor fighting the Sivir earlier on, and Seraph just out-sustaining these fights. The top lane battle is getting better and better for this TDK top laner. Gamsu recalls home guards right back to the top lane.
Yeah.
Seraph, to point out, will have TP first. He's going to have about a 90-second advantage in the cooldown here.
Yeah, it's very true. That would be... He probably has gone utility spec in his masteries because they did teleport at the same time. So the fact
canceled
that...
TP is only
oh yeah, it's the canceled TP, my bad. He did cancel that one. That lane also, even though Seraph has a bit of an upper hand, I don't think it's going to snowball that hard. Once a Hecarim makes it to his home guards, you can push him out of the lane, but he's going to be back real fast.
Yeah, good point. Well, then I'll just subtly track that top lane farm lead. It's hovering around 18. We'll see if it goes anywhere from there and where people assign themselves. But Seraph, who had given up first blood, is going to do what he can to survive against Gamsu as time moves on. Looks like Seraph not really trying to push the lane that he wants to be able to freeze and make Hecarim overextend. Of course, no flash on that champion means escaping would require his ultimate cooldown. We'll see how much he wants to commit to get some farm. Level 9 nearly there for Vladimir, that all-important rank 5 transfusion. A couple of recalls come back through. We're still sitting at a tied game with few forced actions. TDK went in for a turret kill. That worked out quite nicely. They also knocked down Kid, but not trying for Dragon or anything just yet. Helios still playing a bit defensively. TDK still push their lane up. They try to roam into the jungle. They try to tax Helios and Shifter, and they're certainly keeping Dignitas honest.
This is where TDK found their last kill. They have good ward coverage within the Team Dignitas jungle. And if they want to create more mid lane pressure, being able to deny this blue buff is very key.
And two, as you mentioned, two really good wards kind of flanking this blue buff here. They can watch all of the Dignitas movements there. Bot lane got equalized. Mid lane has no champions in it as Shifter goes all the way over to grab his blue. This could be a window for TDK to shove in mid, get the inside track, and push this turret down a little bit. What route will Kid and Shifter have to take? They can walk right back through. No gains.
Yeah, that makes the goal pretty much dead even. As we move more and more toward the teamfight phase, I really want to pay close attention to Emperor. Latman didn't really have solid team fighting games. His positioning was very lackluster, especially yesterday on the Sivir. Emperor is a much more experienced AD carry, playing now in his third major competitive region. Maybe, no, I'm going to count Brazil in this.
Sure.
So
Yeah, they beat Alliance.
Yep. And basically the fact that he started 2-0 gives him that potential to carry that I don't think quite existed with Latman. It's going to be an interesting point of focus to see if Dignitas could shut him down.
Yeah, I gotta agree. Emperor definitely a very skilled player. We'll see if they can put their trust in him. The 2-0 start, it's pretty much one of the best ways you could ever hope to debut in the North American LCS. And TDK still holding equal against the team known for either Gamsu snowballs or they play a slow, methodical game through the mid-game. So far, we are still equal. Good Lantern. Yeah, that would have been scary. Kez could have chanced the explosive cask, but a risk not taken. Dragon still on the map 16 minutes in. We are at default lanes. All teleports are up, so TDK unable to utilize that 90-second window of teleport advantage for Seraph. Turns into nothing, but...
Yeah, based on the records of a 7-2 Team Dignitas and a 0-9 TDK, you would expect a very one-sided game here for Team Dig. But even in Team Dignitas' victories, it's kind of shown that aside from that one match where Gamsu went totally off on Jarvan, they haven't started games with big leads. They're pretty much always splitting even in the mid game and then making very decisive and explosive calls in the mid and late game. So this is now the moment where Team Dignitas wants to be able to turn on and take control of the game. Oftentimes, it's been punishing opponents' moves. But at the moment, TDK isn't making many moves. This is kind of the breaking point for whether TDK or Dignitas, how they win and lose their games. TDK's had decent early games, even with the subs, and it's always broken the wrong way, whereas 7 out of 9 times, Team Dignitas has gotten the victory. Yeah,
and I wonder what effect this sort of full starting roster has on the TDK members. Back when Kez with Complexity, he was always a very sort of calming voice. He didn't rush into many things, and it feels like with the full roster here, he's happy to go back to that slightly more reserved style this year. Good push on towards the Dragon. They're going to get that one cleanly, and they walk right on out. Team Dignitas not even trying to defend this one.
Just grab a lantern.
No, looks cooler to go through a tunnel, man.
Yeah.
I think there's a chance he gets like hooked by Nautilus going through the lantern. I don't know if that's true or not, but either way, whatever. Helios is fine. And TDK get the first Dragon of their new team's career.
Yeah. It's a reborn Team Dragon Knights in this first match. Let's say they're 0-0.
Okay.
That's how we're basically going to have to judge the skill of these guys, because it's a pretty unfortunate set of circumstances that led to them not having their intended roster until halfway through the split, but now it's here. And honestly, it's looking okay so far. They're going toe-to-toe with a team that is 7-2. Team Dignitas has looked like one of the best teams in North America this entire split.
Yeah. But yeah, as these guys continue to play risk-averse, it's not breaking for a while. I do want to keep track on the individual members, though. Emperor has continued to build, actually a minion lead. The lane swap was roughly equal. Of course, he got 2 early kills, but now Emperor is actually ballooning that advantage, whereas Ninja is actually going the opposite way. He's fallen farther and farther behind. Seraph's actually tied back up with Gamsu, which is pretty impressive by him against again, last week's MVP, and Seraph's holding up just fine here. But we've talked about his praise enough. Looks like a top lane move by Smoothie to tie up with Seraph's going to get a lot of damage to this turret. Kez shows as well, and with only 3 members to defend, TDK will back off after getting a lot of damage, but mid and bot keep getting pushed in. These moves by TDK, they're slowly eking out these advantages.
TDK has tremendous wave clear in their team composition. Ninja clears it with 1 death ray. Vladimir shoves better than almost any top laner, and Sivir clears it with a couple of spells. So every lane can constantly be pushed, which makes the moves the Team Dignitas put in very difficult to pull off if they want to go super aggressive.
Seraph canceled his teleport, thinking Emperor was safe. Gamsu's gonna go for the ulti, spell shields the damage, but not the fear. Flashes over, and that will keep him alive. Well played on all counts. Seraph thought he was safe, but all summoners gone for Emperor.
Yeah, 2 summoners burned for 1. But I don't think Gamsu could have stayed up top and defended that turret anyway. Seraph's push is rather relentless. In the meanwhile, though, Dignitas trying to use their point of power in this game, which this time is actually Shifter. A rare 40 CS lead in 20 minutes for Dignitas and mid laner.
Definitely looking good. We're just seeing advantages traded now across the map. The Vladimir split push finally knocks the turret down, but Team Dignitas off of the teleport towards Emperor. They force him out of lane, and CoreJJ able to knock the turret down himself. Mid lane still staying equal, so we've basically just managed to split all the outer sides of the map. We saw the aforementioned TDK Dragon take, and gold-wise, we're again at an equal game, just that smallest of Dragon leads. Technically meaning TDK is winning as far as stats are concerned.
Yeah.
And they're also getting into ward very, very well.
Yeah, TDK is winning in pressure right now, for sure. Because of their tremendous wave clear, it's giving them windows to go and place the wards, whereas Team Dignitas has to spend a little bit longer to clear the waves. And this is the first time they're getting a turret edge, taking an interior turret. But will Team Dignitas be able to punish? They're all about getting the proper flanks. That's how they've been able to win their games, and they're flanking now, Freak.
Flashhook's gonna miss, but he has the Flave. He wants Kez, and looks like the answer is he does. Flash away, bodies him in. Helios blocks it, though, gets the knock, but TDK does get the kill. Dignitas gets the kill onto TDK's jungler, and the chase continues. Gravity Field comes back off a cooldown used, but the dive in towards Ninja. Nice Hemo play to push back Kiwikin, and Dignitas do not want to continue this fight. A 1-for-0, but top lane tier 2 had died.
This will be the name of the game for TDK. They push, bait a collapse, and then try and take another turret. Trading a mid lane turret for 1 kill is actually worth it in the grand scheme of things, so despite the kill from Team Dignitas, TDK wins that trade.
And a pretty damn well played game by TDK so far. They're basically all playing as though they're Seraph. A bunch of split push, a bunch of wave clear, and if you ever miss which lane TDK is going to, turret goes down. And they can just ult back out with Sivir. So it feels like playing this open map and trying to continually roam around and find turrets to kill is working for TDK. Their aggressive wards were already set up for that top turret, and it fell.
It's pretty fascinating that a team that is just now coming together is trying to play such a difficult strategy to pull off cohesively. Playing split push compositions like this and to be successful means everyone needs to be pressuring at the same time, and no one can be caught pressuring while the team is back. It does take a lot of practice to pull off a team composition like this. Normally you'd expect a team that hasn't been playing together for very long to do more just power pick, death ball, team fighting things, group it in an objective and just kind of go. But they're going very clearly for the split push 1-3-1 strategy.
Yeah, TDK hasn't even won a single team fight. It's been a catch here, a catch there, and maybe someone getting picked off, but it's been an objective-focused game, 4-2 in turrets, 1-0 in dragons. That dragon comes back up in 1 minute, and again, we need to see what TDK chooses to do. Dignitas, of course, very good at their own play style of playing a bit passively and capitalizing on any mistakes they see. The question is, are there any mistakes that Kez will call that Helios can capitalize on?
That'll be the question. With Dragon coming up in 40 seconds, there are opportunities for both teams here. So TDK, they want to get vision coverage up, and if Kez can get a nice knockback onto Azir, there's no resistances necessarily, and Ninja could just blow him up, which would allow Emperor to clean up the backside of the fight. For Team Dignitas, they need some type of flank ward so Gamsu could teleport in, but the teleport's not even up yet. So as far as this dragon being contestable, Team Dignitas would need to actually delay TDK until the teleport is there, and it looks like it may just end up being an objective trade attempt.
It is 1 minute on the teleport cooldown of this Gamsu Hecarim. TDK identify that Gamsu is still top lane, so it's going to battle him, and there's the push in for the dragon. Top lane turret does go down, but dragon number 2 cleanly goes over to Team Dragon Knights. The gold once again tied as the turrets are nearly equalized here, but we look back at our scoreboard. It's now 55 minutes for Shifter. That's what's keeping Dignitas in the game, but Seraph himself now up 15 over Gamsu. Those two lanes continue to snowball in opposite directions.
Wouldn't it be fitting if Team Dragon Knights got their first win by taking 5 dragons and reaching their true form? This is an interesting call, though. They sense the window of the long Dragon Dance going into Dragon Take. Very late Scrying Orb. That's a 3,000 health Baron.
He's gonna go.
Yep. TDK's gonna have to rush in for fight.
Well, the knockup's gonna land on the 2 carries of TDK. Sorry, Dignitas keep getting it backwards, but the hook comes in. KiwiKid has already died a 4v5 and outruns Dignitas. No chase available. Sivir ulti's already ended. So Baron for 1, pretty good for Team Dignitas.
Very timely call. Finding the window within the game that you can sneak a Baron is always critical. Team Solomid had one in their CLG game that they didn't actually end up capitalizing on. Didn't end up costing the game. Team Dignitas makes Baron their friend this time. Azir kills Baron so quickly. So it needs to be respected in all games. A little late on the Scrying Orb, and Team Dignitas honestly keeps it close with that Baron.
Right, neck and neck, number 1 versus number 10, and we're still at an equal game 25 minutes in. We finally got to see that smart shot call by Helios to give his team that Baron up there. Otherwise, the slow and controlled game of TDK has otherwise been eking out advantages. As you mentioned, certainly still anybody's game here, and the next 3 recalls come in. So what I'm looking for now is the hints of where these teams might go next. TDK right now have actually lost almost all their wards, though you expect mid and bot to be the pressure. Emperor actually already jumped on by Gamsu. A lot of damage coming through. Emperor does get away, and now actually Smoothie is around. Hook doesn't quite land.
Yeah, so that's the second time Gamsu's burned both of Emperor's summoners, but I like how Emperor is staying safe while maintaining his farm. He needs to have Gamsu on his mind at all times, and he's avoiding, so far, Gamsu from snowballing the game. Team Dignitas, for now, because of the Baron buff, has wave control, which is exactly what you want to be able to have against a split push team, almost forcing them to group. It's not like Vladimir, Victor, Sivir is bad in a group though. So just being there, not necessarily what Team Dignitas needs. Having the summoners down on Emperor means Team Dignitas has to flank appropriately if they want to fight. I think they're now going to be going on the split push of their own.
Yeah, with Baron buff, I mean, you can see how bad the wave clear now is from Victor. The fact that he just doesn't kill these melee minions very well. Mid lane being pushed as well. Emperor, the only wave clear available. Hook doesn't quite land, and Dignitas slowly but surely putting a bit of damage on these tier 2 turrets. Summoned Azir turret as well, easily able to help them siege. Dragon Knight's playing on the back foot for the next minute as they wait for the Baron to time out here. Dignitas relying pretty heavily on Gamsu to make stuff work, but you're seeing how much damage he's taking from Seraph, and actually Gamsu, he's a bit more health than he'd like, down to 1100 HP. He's going to be forced to recall and home grab back in.
So much for the split pushing.
Yeah.
Team Dignitas doesn't, I don't think they got a single turret after Baron.
No.
Yeah. So it kind of just goes to show you how difficult it will be for them to push turrets down. Oftentimes, a team will get a Baron as a catalyst for taking the outer turrets almost for free. But whenever you take a Baron in a closer contested game, you actually have to be stronger than the other team as well in order to access that power, which Team Dignitas just couldn't do. And that generally means we're going for the next dragon.
That next dragon's going to be about 2 minutes away. Unfortunately for Dignitas, they got that Baron right after Dragon went down, so there's no chance that they could have taken a secondary objective with the power they had of Baron buff. Just means we reset the map once again. I'm going to look at vision control. Because TDK was forced into their base, all of their deep wards have timed out. They have literally a ward in river, and that's it. But Dignitas kind of spent all that time getting some wards down. They've actually already prepped this dragon. TDK is going to take quite a bit of time getting themselves back and ready for it.
Yeah, the lingering effects of having Baron buff, basically. Because they had the map presence to get those wards down. It's been very, very slow game up until this point, but rather strategic. They're not really trying to take risks. TDK is basically the ones creating this style by never really overextending themselves, so it makes it very difficult for Team Dignitas to make plays. Gamsu's tried on a couple occasions, but it's just been stifled and then pushed back on by TDK. This would be a time to fight, though, for the third dragon.
And here's the Sivir pop right on a KiwiKid. They go. One more hit will kill him. The Boomerang Blade's going to miss, though. And in comes Gamsu, finds Emperor. The AD carry goes down. His first of the season. And as the battle continues, soldiers in the right spot. A knock up onto Seraph, but he's a pretty durable Vladimir with all this spell vamp. No second kill comes through, but it does mean Dignitas have control of the map.
So they actually do blow up Emperor, and it's while his flash and heal were down, which is critical. That's the fight the Team Dignitas needed to pick within 5 minutes of Gamsu making the play down on the bottom side. Because of that kill, they can prep the dragon a little bit more, but the fight actually happened a little bit too early. people are going to be able to run back to the Dragon and fight again.
Yeah, what did help Dignitas was the fact that Seraph had to maintain a wave. He was top lane and TP'd into the fight to stop the bleeding. So there's a teleport advantage for Dignitas, as well as a bit of gold coming into their pockets. The ward advantage actually still maintained. I think we only have a Scuttle Crab keeping TDK's vision up around Dragon. It makes me think Dignitas still in a very good spot to make Dragon number 3 theirs.
Yeah, it's a big thing to track the ultimates, obviously. No Hecarim ult, no Sivir ult, no Gragas ult, no Vlad ult. It'll be a bit of a slap fest early on if they decide to fight for this Dragon before the ultimates are up. But it would be a takeable fight. I think they're a little bit respectful of Shifter's level 16 Emperor's Divide, however.
Both Dignitas have theirs, and Corki doesn't really need cooldowns for that one. The Dragon attempt, ooh, no steal for Kez. He's got to be a bit careful. Already at half, Gamsu, of course, cannot charge in just yet. Gets the Lantern out. Dragon safely to Team Dignitas, and TDK just going back to mid to clear. But Dignitas not really done, still looking forward.
Gamsu wants it.
Finds some damage into Seraph, but loses all his health for Gamsu. Forced to ult away from the fight, and in comes the hard engage. Core JJ gets dropped. These AD carries constantly dying. Seraph the backline pops, Zonia stays alive. In comes Helios. Oh, wow. Bunch of damage from Shifter cleaning up the fight, but he's the only guy left alive on the team. Nice Q by Emperor, takes him down. How's that for an Emperor's Divide, and TDK win the fight.
Core JJ was evaporated by some damage at the start of that fight. Gamsu wanted it, could not get an ultimate off in an offensive fashion, and TDK used the Vladimir Victor power to win that fight, and now they're going to go for a big edge. They can get this inhibitor.
Absolutely. Inhibitor turret's going to be a cakewalk. The inhibit itself can't defend. 4 seconds on Corki. Kiwi Kid's alive, but he's not going to go for a 1v3. What a great fight. TDK turned it around after they cede the Dragon to Dignitas and come out convincingly.
Yeah, they were just waiting on their ultimate cooldowns once again. Seraph got off a fantastic Hemo Plague, which led to that evaporation of Core JJ and many members of Team Dignitas. Looking at this one more time. Gamsu had a lot of damage before going in. Then it's once he gets hooked, just ulting towards his base, kind of leaves the rest of Team Dig out to dry. Both backliners get in range of Seraph, and Seraph just does work Zoniazing right afterwards. But Team Dignitas,
This is maybe a bit too bold because TDK is right here. The hook comes in, they find Kiwi Kid, maybe not the worst target.
They got Ninja!
Goes down, Core JJ is still alive, but Kez and the Vladimir are here. Core JJ will get himself killed. Emperor joins the fray as well, but it's still a couple of kills back and forth, a 2 for 2. Seraph gonna get dropped easily by Shifter.
Somehow, Team Dignitas puts all 5 of their team members within the Baron pit and win a fight. 2-3. The Baron, of course, is still up, but the catalyst was the Baron to begin that fight. Shifter had great zone control with the Azir that fight that let them keep it close. This just turned into a bit of a bloodbath.
Ninja was unable to cast Chaos Storm that fight. I don't know if it was on cooldown or if he died too fast, but the fact that ability was not used in the fight is pretty impressive.
Looks like it's just coming off cooldown. It's up. It's up at the very start. Helios knocks him up, tracking Ninja, then he gets terrified and hit by the Baron. And then killed. So CC'd for pretty much the entirety, which hurt the TDK collapse. Team Dignitas was actually able to spread quite well, thus avoiding a lot of the AoE of TDK and almost nullifying the Sivir ultimate because TDK didn't focus on one side. Seraph was trying to kill the backline, whereas the rest of the team was on the front line / the Baron. So sloppy team fighting there by TDK, but it was a chaotic creation by Team Dignitas to go for that Baron.
Hey, forced their hand, certainly.
Rek'Sai's loud.
Yeah, yes, she is.
She wants in.
She's angry. 0-1 and 7.
She wants in.
Has a death. Kept it from being James Bond in this one. And Shifter, getting poked around. Now, of course, mid inhibitor, keep in mind, is still dead. And Dignitas are playing with a small 1,000 gold deficit. This does give TDK the general sense of map control here, although Dignitas will refuse to say die. Double Sight Stone for both teams does need plenty of wards to try to keep the sneaks at bay. According to pop his QSS for nothing.
That could end up hurting him if he ends up getting...
Hemo Plague is the main reason.
Yeah. I feel like it's a running joke at this point that I always call Rek'Sai he. Just gonna continue doing that by mistake.
All right.
Just so everyone knows. I'm sorry in advance. Helios was the key in this sense.
Helios.
Wanted in.
I like it. I'm a fan, Jet.
All
well
planned.
done.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
All right, well, Azir turret self-destructs. And Team Dignitas have done a good job of just holding on to that mid lane and not letting it go anywhere. But TDK, again, with the control to push lanes in first. Top lane has been pushed out by them. Bot lane is building up, and now here comes the push in towards mid. Helios trying to run Shifter as well. Might have to ult to keep himself safe. Does so. Kez will not get with body slam, but that is an important ultimate on cooldown for a minute right now.
Yeah, and TDK tries to maintain vision control of this spot. They burned so much in that attempt, though. It was a Sivir ultimate, 4 and a Zero ultimate. Honestly, I would rather have
Sivir?
the Sivir ultimate, yes. Because then they could have used it to go for Gamsu and maybe burn another ultimate away. As it is now, Team Dignitas can still initiate, so no real forces coming out.
Yeah. Well, 10-second mismatch on this cooldown. Sivir gets hers back in 40 seconds, Azir's in 30. You wait another 2 waves, and it ends up not mattering in the first place anyway. Baron attempted, though, before these ultis do come back up. A lot of damage going through. Dignitas must know about this. A lot of wards coming down.
They're not in the right position to fight. They can try and steal, but they need time. Now they're going for the fight.
Blue team is slain Baron. Actually, that goes to Team Dragon Knights, and right on top of it they go. Gamsu taking a lot of damage, but Lantern right back out. Core JJ locked up, can't QSS. Will try to kite away Seraph, and he's still gonna go down. 2 kills picked up for TDK. Make that 3. Seraph does get killed, but it's a 4 for 1 with Middenhip dead and Baron.
Seraph did so much work in that fight. The Sivir ultimate is up, and these long death timers plus the Baron buff could mean TDK's first win of the split.
Well, you said it'd be a hard road, maybe 9 wins required to make playoffs. Well, they're gonna start with their new lineup with a win right off the bat. They knocked Team Dignitas down a peg. TDK gonna get their first win on the board, and maybe the miracle season has begun. With the new roster, these guys are undefeated. Oh, hold up! The inhibitor respawned!
The inhibitor did
it's not
respawn.
even over yet!
And Team Dignitas is reviving, maybe?
Oh no, they can't. It can't possibly.
They got it.
Okay. Well, everyone throws for a loop. Again, TDK with the new lineup, fresh start, kind of 1-0. What if the miracle season happens?
Yeah. That would be quite the story. That's a nice way to welcome Ninja and Emperor to the team, is with a win over a 7-2 Team Dignitas, who was just a half game out of first place before this game. Emperor 5-1-10, but even though Seraph had the 2-4-8 scoreline, he had so many outplays of Team Dignitas in that Baron fight.
Yeah.
Just pooling right around and underneath the pretty much every spell that Team Dignitas threw at them, killing Core JJ again and again.
Yeah, I really like how TDK came in with this lineup. Now, we knew at the beginning of the split, this was a lineup they were practicing with. They didn't practice with the sub-squad. These guys were in North America, work eligible or not. Emperor and Ninja were still playing with the roster from the US and waiting until their eligibility came through. This team looked pretty well practiced. The team comp was good. They covered the fact that Vlad would be low mobility in the top lane by having a Sivir on the team that I believe they first picked. That lined up well. Ninja lost lane, but went 5-1-4 this game, was consistent enough to show up in team fights. Only that one mistake at the Baron battle.
Yeah, and it's very interesting how TDK played the split push for so long and then recognized when they were strong enough to start grouping and just kind of went for it. So once Seraph hit those item breakpoints, having the Void Staff Zonias, and as well as Ninja having Death Cap plus some Death Ray upgrades, they just started to go for the group fights. Then they grouped up with Sivir and 1. So they pivoted the way they were playing the map kind of halfway through the game to benefit their power spikes as best as possible. And yeah, I think they really shocked Team Dignitas in this game. No one really expected to face a coordinated Team TDK in their first match with the full roster.
But that's exactly what happened. These guys looked very, very strong. This is a Team Dignitas who had beaten Team Liquid. They had beaten Team Solomid. They just beat Enemy Esports yesterday and showed that they could play a strong, consistent game. And games are getting a bit ahead or not, just there was not a lot shown for these guys. The slow, consistent game was slowly and surely outplayed by TDK. There was a 4-2 turret lead. There was a 2-0 dragon lead. Just the incremental advantages kept going in the favor of the newcomers here. And then, as you mentioned, it turned into team fights. Those went really well. You talked about Seraph's play. You talked about Emperor's play as well. Quite amazing. 5-1-10 for him. He only missed out on being part of 1 kill. 15 of the 16 kill participation.
Confirmed better than the sub-squad.
Yep.
100%.
I mean, if you're really going statistics-wise, TDK is now the best team in the league. They beat the team tied for first and have a 100% win rate.
Guys?
I'm mostly kidding. Yeah. But yeah, win percentage-wise, TDK are the best team in North
Mostly
America.
kidding. The best kind of kidding.
There's an element of truth in the fact that they beat Team Dignitas, which is a freaking good start for the new roster. We'll see if they can do more on it. But for a complete breakdown on that match, let's throw it over to our analysts.
Thank you, guys. And yeah, going into the day, we were basically wondering, how is this roster going to do? We were talking about the fact that they'd need maybe 7 wins to make it to the playoffs. As Freak just mentioned, beating Dignitas first game out of the gate is a really good way to start.
Yeah, a freaking good way to start. He hit the nail on the head there. I have to say, though, I was really impressed with the subs when they came in. You know, we were wondering, you know, are these guys going to be worth it? Is the wait going to be worth it for the subs to finally get in? Yes, it definitely was. Especially Emperor was a great improvement for them.
Yeah, the real roster coming in. Emperor had pretty much 10 CS every minute after the lane swap as well. His Sivir was really good, focusing targets, having good canceling on his auto attacks, and just W immediately. Really, really good. His
avoiding Hecarim.
He was playing really, really well that game. I think he only died 1 time, 15 out of the 16 kills he was involved in. Just absolutely really good play from him. And Ninja, every time a gank came his way, he went down in CS, but his W placement was good, his holding on to summoner spells, and the fact that he was diffusing pressure so they could do other moves across the map. They were getting turrets for that type of pressure.
Yeah, so both players coming in, as you mentioned, even with the deficit in CS in the mid lane, still showing up, putting a lot of pressure onto the map. I also do want to point out Seraph. Jap mentioned, although his scoreline didn't reflect the best of performances 2, 4, and 8, he actually dealt the most damage on his team. So really being that frontline disturbance for the team while pumping out a lot of damage. It's good to see that he's still in form, that form that we saw even with the sub squad, and the 3 of them come together really well.
And yesterday he was 4-0-0 in a loss with the sub squad. So Seraph, he's been stepping up as a very consistent player for the squad, wanting to play those carry top laners. So now seeing him in an element where he's actually going to speak his native language with the team is really good to see. And I think we're just going to see better stuff from him as time goes on.
Yeah, plus his gameplay did not falter after he gave up First Blood. You know, sometimes that can impact the later stages of the game for him, but he was fearless, onto the front line, took up a lot of the time of the enemy carries.
Now, given that we've only seen the 1 game from them so far, if we were to look for points of improvement, things that we think immediately, initially off the bat, we definitely want them to work on moving forward, what would they be?
Looking at TDK, it's always kind of like a communication thing. I feel like Smoothie's left out of the loop a lot, and I feel like Smoothie, you know, coming out of Challenger, improving and getting into the LCS and being like a top-tier support is going to be very difficult for him. I feel like he's still near the bottom of where supports are in the LCS, and him stepping up and being on top of his roam game and landing hooks and being that pick guy, I feel like that's where I'm going to be looking, is for that Smoothie Emperor synergy, because we didn't really see it today because they didn't lane together, but I want to see that moving forward.
Yeah, I think attacking on some side wave control to that would just be the perfect birthday cake for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, real quick, let's hit Dignitas before we move out of this, because they did get their they received this loss from a team that wouldn't have been expected to do so well as a top-tier team. We did see them make a really incredible Baron call over the wall at one point.
Yeah,
but
that was cool.
So that's another thing, you know, and one of the things that they can improve on for a TDK is the ward coverage, you know, and controlling side lanes. The reason that play even came about was because of the, you know, lack of vision that TDK had.
They did capitalize off it, though. They scrying orbed, and then they immediately ran in, and Emperor picked up a kill for himself. So still, immediately, like, very decisive shot calling already from TDK.
All right, well, with that win, TDK moving to 1-9. We're going to take a moment to throw it back out to the stage, though, for a word with a member of the victorious TDK.
We absolutely want to get a quick interview with one of the members of the victorious TDK. I am joined here by Seraph. At the beginning of the day, Seraph, we even said that you guys would have to have first place play. You guys have to win a lot of games coming out here, and you were able to beat one of the teams in first place. How does the team feel right now, and how are you feeling about the team?
Every my teammates be so happy, and I actually don't remember when I have a smile in stage, but guess what? Today is that day.
Well, the TDK fans are very happy with smiles on their faces as well. Coming into this split, Seraph, what was the stress like? You were so happy to find yourself back on the LCS stage, but nothing went right for the first half of the split. How did you deal with that stress?
Well, I had no choice because to be honest, I played bad like last season, so I need to get improved myself. So I just keep practice with with the Cavs, and also my teammates, their mentality are so good, way better than me. So they just actually carry me a lot. So I could be patient.
Well, we all carry each other in different aspects, mentally, mechanically, physically. Seems like the team's starting to work together very well now. And even you yourself said, we can still grow even if there are subs on our team. And we saw that. Still practicing with the regular team, playing on the stage with the sub team, you guys showed improvement with the full roster. How far do you think you guys can go now?
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. When you play like sub, I don't think every team are like perfectly good, so we can go far. I think we can go playoff, definitely.
So you guys got playoffs now with the full team. All the fans are looking forward to it. Team Dragon Knights picking up their first win. Seraph, thank you very much for the interview and best of luck to the team in the rest of the season. We got another game to go today. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in 3.5 with more North American LCS.
We're done.
Team Dragon Knights versus Team Dignitas. Gets stunned up though. Looks like Valkyrie gonna do nothing. The kill goes through to Emperor. An amazing explosive cast by Kez makes Kiwi get flat, but here comes Gamsu.
Okay, nice.
Okay. Core JJ locked up, can't QSS. Will try to kite away Seraph, and he's still gonna go down. Gonna get their first win on the board, and maybe the miracle season has begun.